So the Pre-Fortress guys released finally a public announcement as to the progress of the Steam release and such, which is cool because it's hard for them to be this public, I think. But it's right here. It's on their blog as well as on Steam, but I'm going to do it here because it's easier to read. I just wanted to look through it, talk about how I felt about it, because upon reading it, I was a little confused. Excited to announce that they're accepting applications. You can get a join us page. I'm not going to join because I'm not qualified for any of this stuff, but it's there, I suppose. Sneak peeks for the 0.8 update, the Steam release. They are going to optimize and remake some of the weapon models. Fine, as long as it doesn't, look too different. I guess it's cool. Renaming the MAT 49 and Mach 10 to be more in line with existing name schemes. Yeah, whatever. Don't know what this is yet, but we're going to find out. Player models are being significantly revamped. And this is where I get very confused. There has always been a sort of charm to the lower polygon, less detail aesthetic of the actual beta accurate models, and now they're sort of HDifying it. And call it what you will. This is a personal thing. It's not objective, all right? So don't come after me because it's like, oh, but you're the guy who does all the objective stuff. Like, I know I am. But to me, this looks like the kind of trope that's been a thing recently, a stereotype, I should say, where people take the old school thing that was like, it's a really good game on its own, this old school game, and then they HD remake it, and it's not necessary, and honestly, it looks kind of the same as everything else. There is a charm that the old models attracted in the sense that they weren't like any of the other mods, right? Even though Soldier looks a bit more like a monkey in certain cases, there's a charm to how he used to look, in the sense that there was a crusty aspect to it that just separated Pre-Fortress from its contemporaries, especially TF2C. And so I don't much care for the new models at all, just because they look a bit too good. It just seems unnecessary, and it makes the game look a bit more like everything else. It homogenizes everything a little bit. And don't get me wrong, it looks nice. Objectively, it looks really good. The modelers are obviously putting in overtime for this, and it shows. It's really good. The clarity of the models is amazing. It's just not Pre-Fortress 2 anymore. It's not the beta. It's not the unrefined nature anymore. It's now refined, and it almost feels like the name of the game should be changed to something else, because it's just not pre anything anymore. It's becoming its own thing. New weapons. For some reason, Scout is getting a new weapon. I'm assuming to take the place of the nail gun, but I could see this taking the place of the shotgun as well. I just think it's probably going to be a nail gun option. I don't know why this is the case, and let me just talk about this real quick. I know from the experiences that I've had playing this game, right? Like, I've got a playlist here on my YouTube channel of 130 videos of Pre-Fortress, right? From all the way back in like January of 23, right? Even though I had been following the game a little bit before then. And what appealed to me about the game, and what appealed to a lot of other people, especially the guys that I used to play with, what appealed to me about this game was the fact that I could climb through the ranks, right, with just stock weapons and nothing else. That there was no option to bail me out. There was no alternative play style to switch to cover for a skill discrepancy, right? There was only what you had, and how congruent you were with your team. And that meant something. That was why a lot of people played this game. Because it was raw and stripped down to its fundamentals, and it was perfect in that regard. So when I look at this, and I'm told that there's going to be new weapons in the game, possibly for other classes too, and especially from what I know about how they've talked about, grenade overhauls and stuff, I look at this with a piece of disdain and a great deal of fear, because this is very much no longer the game that I remember playing. And to be clear, Pre-Fortress is my favorite game, of all time, pretty much. I know I talked Doom 2016 a lot. This is my favorite game. This is where all my good online memories have been made, So to see that it's becoming what they said in Discord, what was it? A more maximalist experience where it's more is more. The appeal for me and a lot of people that used to play this game more was the opposite. That it was less. And it was good for that. It was less refined in the quality of the models and the textures, and the lighting looked a bit underbaked and high contrast. And there were less weapons, there were less abilities. It was hard to play as pretty much any class because every class both had a lot of utility and at the same time, as a result, almost paradoxically, they had a lot of struggle involved as well, because now it's very back down to roots, so to speak, very team focused by nature of not being bloated and distracted with other things. And yeah, it looks good. Don't get me wrong. It looks amazing. And even if it works, functionally within the game balance, what this indicates to me is that the design philosophy has changed. And I know that Pre-Fortress has had identity changes over the years, from being an 06, 07 type thing to being a lot more beta accurate to throwing in creative liberties for the sake of playability. But now, after it had established itself as something where it's a bit of beta accuracy and essentially the best of TFC and modern TF2 put together, right? Because that's what it had established itself as in the common eye. Now that it had that reputation for a long time and the developers weren't very communicative outside of their Discord server, people assumed that this was how it is, and now it's not going to be that. It's going to be different. There's going to be more. It's all going to be different, and it's very awkward. The new map images look good. There's not a whole lot to go off of, obviously, because it's filtered, but it looks good. The textures look great. I like the construction. It looks pretty TF2, I would say. I dig it. There's going to be a UI rework all the other mods have done. Gold Rush and Classic, especially, or Classified as it's called now, I guess. I like that the achievements are going to be arranged like this now, because that actually makes it look a bit more put together. I like it. I like it a lot. Looks good so far. The transition to the SDK is providing vScript, Steam networking. Steam networking is huge. Replay editor, that's huge. Workshop support. I don't know why. Maybe it's for custom maps and stuff. I don't know why this game needs workshop support, but sure. That is a plus, to be sure, and training bots, which is good. And then they include this unlisted video, which where is it? It's this one. What I notice about this is that when you compare it to something like this, my old videos, right? If you look at the shadows here, and this isn't my recording software, obviously the bitrate and the anti-aliasing is my fault, but there's much darker shadows and much brighter areas, right? especially over here. There's a lot of darkness and stuff. And the metal is super reflective. It looks a little unrefined because it's very extreme and high contrast. That was another appeal of Pre-Fortress. It was its aesthetic design. Just by the nature of it looking a little unrefined, it separated it even more from its contemporaries like TF2C, where it looked super refined. And now it separates itself from TF2 Gold Rush, which is just, old school TF2, right? And I look at this, and I'm looking at TF2C. I'm looking at more realistic shadows. I'm looking at easier on the eyes lighting. I'm looking at models that interact with light from various sources differently. And something else I'm noticing too, having watched this, explosions and rocket tracers and fire rockets, fire itself, the EMP bomb somehow, that's the wild explosion. In congruency with the cartoon muzzle flash, it doesn't make sense, right? It should have stayed as cartoony as the cartoon muzzle flash. It should have remained, what it was here, where it's still unrefined and very, very basic in a sense. Let me see if I can actually demonstrate the explosions. Where it just looks a bit more... here's the heel bomb. There's something about it that just looks a bit old school, right? It's simple. This is pretty. It's nice. I'm not going to deny that it looks amazing. This is not Pre-Fortress. This is not pre-anything. This is incredibly refined. It would be more honest at this point for there to be a full rebrand. And I don't want that to be the case. I'd rather they just design the game in congruency with the vision that they had become known for and what people were actually respecting the game for. Because now, this looks like a ripoff of TF2C with grenades that they say they're going to overhaul and weapons that might change stats. And this just doesn't look like the game that I grew up playing. This isn't the game that I downloaded. And I know that this is very vague. I know that it's not, what people come to me to hear about, because I know I pride myself on being very concrete about things. And the funny thing too is that they're all like, oh yeah, criticism is accepted and all that. I know, for as nice as that sounds, that's not true. They have a roadmap that they've said they've been on for years. Lot of years. This is not going to change. The direction this mod is going in is not going to change, because that would throw a lot of the work that's been put in completely out. They don't want that, because that's not what their guys would want, obviously, and that's perfectly, understandable, because they want their work to actually, be worth something. Also, why is there only 30 achievements? There should be a lot more in this game. There's a lot you can do. So I'm disappointed, because it's very obvious that this game is not going to be Pre-Fortress 2 anymore. It's more like Pre-Fortress 3, honestly. I don't like it. When this comes out, hopefully sooner actually, I want to find a way of setting up a server on a legacy version. In my personal opinion, and I have beliefs for it, but they're vague and I haven't put words to it. But so in my opinion, but rooted in belief, so I guess my belief, 0.7 after the hotfix was the best version of this game. I really believe that. 0.7 was the best. I know it's the one I played the most. I know that's what people, they're going to be like, oh, you're just nostalgic. Like, sure. But functionally, it was better. Because afterwards, they started adding stuff that didn't need to be added, reworking stats that didn't need to be reworked. Nobody had problems. Not really. A lot of it was inflated. A lot of it was developers throwing their ego into it. The entity that the game had become known for and was appealing for is now being changed by the developers, frankly, because they think they're God, right? They think that their efforts are worth putting into this. I don't appreciate that. As a longtime fan of this game, I know I haven't been around for the entire history of this, not by a long shot, but this is the game I cared most about. And I wanted to come back to it properly. I just haven't had the time. I want to play 0.7.5 because that's the version that's out right now, I think. They fixed the grenade damage bug, from what I hear, which is good. Took them way too long to do that, but, you know. What can you expect from these people, I suppose? I mean, it's freaking... How long was it between 0.4 and 0.5 where they scuffed the explosions? When was this 5th anniversary? This was from July of 25 up to February of 26. So that's like 6 months. It took them 6 months to fix a damage bug with the grenades. Frankly, unacceptable. Better late than never, I guess, but that was really stupid because it turned me off of the game for a long time because it was just becoming unplayable with the way that was most effective to play, or what should have been most effective to play. It was a stupid thing to work around, so I stopped playing for a bit. I know people can be all like, oh, but the design is what they want it to be because they're the developers. And at a certain point, I think developers need to be comfortable with the identity of their game existing independent of them and their intentions. Because what the mod was known for was something different than what they're going for now. I don't know. I know I don't speak for every player, but I remember us talking about it a lot. That the mod was pretty much dang perfect. And so to see... Gosh. To see where things are going, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. A lot of this is not going to end well, you know? And they're not going to change because they've been on this for a long time. They've wanted this for a long time. So my wishes at this point are not in the common interest of the developers. So it's not worth really telling them directly because they're not going to change anything. They're just not. They've invested too much time to throw out what they've been working on. So I will play it when it comes out on Steam, but I'm not looking forward to it. It's pretty rough to watch, 'cause there used to be something here, man. You know, there used to be something in this, you know, bright lighting, unrefined models, somewhat weird textures, you know, shadows that interact with things differently. But there was a charm to it, and it separated it from its contemporaries. And now, this looks like this. Or at least looks a lot closer. Pre-Fortress is now looking a lot closer to TF2C. And I really liked TF2C. And I like the lighting and all that. And I like the way things look in TF2C. That's its thing. It shouldn't be Pre-Fortress's thing. Pre-Fortress's thing was something different. And it's not going to be that anymore because they said no. I have never been as vocal about this as I ought to be. I know I'm way too late to the party now. But I am disappointed. Very disappointed. Because the game I loved playing is just not here anymore. So I'm going to have to use a legacy version because that makes me pretty freaking upset.